Kingdom Hearts, an amazing and wonderful series that spawned in 2002 to be a mix of Disney and Final Fantasy with its own original story. You had the characters, the story, if you put the time and effort to understand it, and most of all, the Disney worlds, everybody's favorite part of the Kingdom Hearts games, second to the lore. Well, that is if you're a KH fan, but everyone enjoys the Disney worlds. But as someone who's gotten into the series in 2022, I started to notice something about the fandom when it comes to the Disney worlds. And well, that's that they think that the Disney worlds in every Kingdom Hearts game is just filler to the main story. And if I'm being honest, they couldn't be more wrong than ever. Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. My name is James and today we'll be discussing why the Disney worlds in Kingdom Hearts are important. Ever since I got into the Kingdom Hearts series in 2002, I've always seen the online stigma of, oh, Kingdom Hearts is good, but the Disney worlds just feel like fillers, so they wouldn't matter in the long run of the plot. And if I'm being honest, they wouldn't add the Disney worlds if they weren't important to the plot. Because if they actually did that, then what would be the point of the Disney worlds existing in these games? Just for marketing fun? Okay, you might have a point there. But that's besides the point. The creator, Tetsuya Nomura, has always made the Disney worlds feel important to the plot, to the point where he was planning to cancel Kingdom Hearts 3 if he didn't have Toy Story in it. And trust me, we'll get to why that was the case. So that's why I'm here to talk about the importance of the Disney worlds in Kingdom Hearts. Because I myself think they do matter to the plot, and by the end of this video you'll see why. Now, first of all, I would like to mention that I will only be focusing on the numbered entries of the series because that's where the backlash for the Disney worlds being filler comes from. So I might talk about the side games in the video, but that's a hard maybe. They'd probably be like brief expositions, but my main focus will be the numbered titles. Alright, with all that being said, let's start with the first game in the series, Kingdom Hearts 1. To get the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 1 out of the way so we can get to Disney World, Protagonist's best friend, and Protagonist's crush build a raft to explore new worlds. One day, the island is in danger and the protagonist goes to check it out. Protagonist's best friend goes into a dark void and Protagonist gets the weapon, and Protagonist's crush goes inside of the protagonist. Trust me, that'll make sense later. Protagonist then gets transported to someplace different and meets Donald Duck and Goofy Goof and goes on many Disney adventures. Alright, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about the Disney worlds. Now, there are about 8 Disney worlds in this game, but if you exclude 100 Acre Woods, since that one is optional, then there are 7 Disney worlds that are important to the story of Kingdom Hearts 1. And I would say that they're very reflective on Sora's journey. Wonderland has Alice kidnapped and it makes you wonder what's going on. Olympus is to showcase the heroism within Sora and what it means to be a hero to him. On the way to Deep Jungle, it shows the relationship between Sora and Donald and how much they butt heads with one another. And while you're there, it shows the relationship being a little bit complicated because even though Sora was worried about the two, he still decides not to mention Donald at all, and even Goofy, but also mentioning Riku and Kairi. And speaking of which, it drops a subtle hint about Kairi in that world, but you wouldn't know until the very end, and trust me, we will get there. After finishing Deep Jungle, it's revealed that Alice was kidnapped by Maleficent and the other villains, because she is one of the 7 princesses of light, and she will play an important role at the end of the game. We have an interlude scene of Riku being fine and is being manipulated by Maleficent back in Traverse Town, and then we go back out, because now we're in Agrabah. And in Agrabah, it showcases again the importance of the 7 princesses of Heart, with Jasmine being kidnapped. We then go into Monstro, where we see Riku kidnapping Pinocchio because he's curious how someone like Pinocchio can have a heart despite being a puppet. And he's doing this because of Kairi's status, being not awake at the moment. And it also showcases Riku's descent into jealousy towards Sora because he thinks he doesn't care about him or Kairi at all, traveling with Donald and Goofy instead just to goof off. And the next world is Halloween Town. This world goes in depth about the heart, something that the series is centered around, and not to mention it will play a vital importance in the final moments of this game. So them talking about hearts in the world of spooky monsters is kind of interesting. Next is Atlantica, you know, my least favorite world. And Ariel wanting to see the outside world is kind of reflective of Sora wanting to see the outside world back in Destiny Islands and getting to do so. The last Disney world for this puzzle piece is Neverland, and this showcases a lot of things before we head to the final original KH world. It showcases how petty Riku is being to wanting to save Kairi instead of Sora, and Sora finally finding Kairi, but because she's in a comatose state, she can't really respond to him. But when he reaches his hand out to her, that's when she slightly moves and there's a semblance of something there, but we just don't know yet. It's safe to say that the Disney worlds are playing an important role to this game, but everything being brought up in those worlds would finally be answered in Hollow Bastion. In Hollow Bastion, we get to see everything unfold. We see Riku succumb to his dark side. He taunts and mocks Sora for being weak and being the delivery boy for his Keyblade, with Donald and Goofy going to his side because it's their mission to follow the person with the Keyblade. But after arriving in Hollow Bastion, Riku decides to attack Sora, but because of the bond Sora built with Goofy and Donald, they return to his side to defend him. And that's when Sora learns that his friends are his power and they are connected to his heart, which makes the Keyblade return to him. Now, as I talked about, we've been seeing Riku's descent throughout the Disney worlds, so it coming to a culmination here just makes sense. Just like the Princesses of Heart, who create a pseudo Keyblade to unlock Kingdom Hearts and bring darkness upon the world. But as you know, I called it a pseudo Keyblade, meaning it's not really complete yet, and that's because there's one princess missing. That princess being Kairi. And with it being teased from the beginning of the game to Neverland, it's revealed that Kairi's heart resides in Sora. After defeating Riku, Sora's heroism takes action because he decides to sacrifice himself in order to release Kairi's heart from inside him. What we're seeing in Hollow Bastion is the combination of everything that we've been led up to in all of the Disney worlds. The concept of hearts, Sora's heroism, exploring the outside world, the Princesses of Light, Riku's descent into darkness, Kairi's comatose states, and Sora seeing visions of her every now and then. All of it is being brought up in this original Kingdom Hearts world, and it comes to its conclusion in the final world of the game, End of the World, where Ansem finally reveals himself and says that darkness is the heart's true essence. But as Sora puts it, his understanding of the heart is that even though there's darkness, there is also light within that darkness. And when Ansem assumes that darkness is the only thing that resides in Kingdom Hearts, the light shines and ends up taking him out. The Disney worlds in this game were basically the setup of what we needed to understand for the final act of the game, and it makes sense why these worlds were included in the first game in the first place. But I don't want to come to my conclusion about everything just yet. I'm gonna wait until the end of the video. So with that being said, let's move on to Kingdom Hearts 2. Now, as we get to Kingdom Hearts 2, I think this is where the argument of the Disney worlds being irrelevant filler started to pop up, because on the outside they don't really look like they're doing much to be integral to the main plot of the story. Well, maybe if you're doing the second visit where organization members pop up, but that's about it. Everything usually happens in the original worlds of the game, and the one you could make an argument for is the Tron world. But me personally, I started to notice over the years how the Disney worlds play into the thematic theme of the game, that theme being internal struggle. Now, in order to make sense of this, we have to look at that prologue of the game. The prologue of the game is basically Roxas going around Twilight Town on his 7-day summer vacation, but he starts to notice things happening around him in Twilight Town that nobody else seems to realize. And not only that, but he's starting to get memories of a person he doesn't even know, with someone who personally knows him telling him who he used to be, and he can't even remember that. So with the memories he doesn't know, and the person telling him who he is, and another person telling him who he truly is, he is confused on what to think. That's until later on in the prologue, it's revealed that he is Sora's nobody, someone who is half of Sora and not their own person. And Roxas is struggling with the fact that his body was never his own, but somebody else's, and he feels nothing but rage about it. But once he meets Sora, he finally accepts his fate. And I think that's what the Disney Worlds are encapsulating with the themes of this game. It's encapsulating the internal struggle of Sora and Roxas. Land of the Dragons is a retelling of the Mulan movie, and in that movie, Mulan is wondering where she belongs, and after her father is drafted to the war, she ends up taking his place so that he wouldn't have to die in that battle. And she's not really all that confident as she should be, since, you know, she's disguised as a man, and she's scared that people will find her out. But after the training and her battle with Zhao on the Snowy Mountain, and the battle in the castle, she finally learns where she belongs and who she is. Beast Castle is literally Beauty and the Beast, with Beast having an internal struggle with his love with Belle and the curse he has, with the rose being a manifestation of how much time left he has with that curse. And during your second visit, he chooses his love for Belle instead of focusing on his curse. In Agrabah, Iago goes through an internal struggle where he either obeys Jafar and revive him, or to just be friends with Aladdin after the first game. Pride Rock is literally a retelling of the grown-up part of Simba, where he's struggling to go back to his home or just stay where he is and never take up the king mantle. But he chooses to go back home and faces his fears. And literally, Halloween Town is just the half of Nightmare Before Christmas, where Jack has an identity crisis thinking he's Santa. Now, I could talk about the other worlds in the game, but I think you get the point by now. The theme of this game is the internal struggle, and you can see that in the Sora and Roxas fight in the world that never was. Because after that fight, and during the prologue of the second phase of the final boss, you can see that Roxas finally accepts his fate of being the other half of Sora. Now, before I move on to Kingdom Hearts 3, I think I want to give a brief synopsis of one, and I mean one, Kingdom Hearts game. Now, I'm not really going to focus on Chain of Memories, 358 over 2 days, or Recoded, because I just watched the cutscenes for those games, and the cutscenes don't really involve the Disney worlds. And with Dream Drop Distance, I'm too lazy to do Dream Drop Distance. So with those being on the picture, the only game left is Birth by Sleep. And I think the Disney worlds tie into the main story of Birth by Sleep thematically, just like Kingdom Hearts 2 did, but in a more simple approach like KH1, because the main story of the game is centered around the bond between the three characters that you play as and their personal growth. In Enchanted Dominion, Terra is forced to take away Aurora's heart by Maleficent, and after Aqua and Ventus hear about it, they don't believe her, and Ventus frees Aurora's heart while Aqua defeats Maleficent. In Dwarf Woodlands, Terra is lied to by the villain to kill Snow White, but goes against her wishes and helps protect Snow White instead. In Aqua's story, she's reminded of when Ventus was fast asleep in his own room, because in that flashback he was a little dead looking compared to what he looks like now. Castle of Dreams is Terra escorting Cinderella to the ball, with him getting news from Aqua about Ventus' disappearance from the land of departure, with him on the look for Ventus as well. And not only that, but Ventus helps Jacques make Cinderella's dress. After a little fight they had in Radiant Garden due to them, well, not seeing one another's perspectives on things, we go to Disney Town, and we learned how Pete got to meet Maleficent. That's a thing. Anyway, Olympus Coliseum, we get to see how Ventus is reminded by Zack in Hercules about the training he saw Terra and Aqua do, strengthening their bond a lot more. Terra helping Zack against the darkness within him, just like he's battling the darkness within himself. And Aqua hearing about the good deeds Terra is doing there. In Deep Space, Terra teaches Stitch about the importance of his Wayfinder, with Stitch ending up creating his own. And Aqua sees how much Terra has touched its heart with the Wayfinder she sees him have. And Neverland is kind of similar to KH1, where the level was a beginning of the end for the characters, because the final part of the game would be the culmination of everything they went through. Terra defying every Disney villain, with that being him defying Xehanort after finally finding out what he was truly doing. Ventus learning why he was protected and why he has a strong bond with his friends after learning about Vanitas. And Aqua playing babysitter, cleaning up everybody's messes, but after Radiant Garden, she doesn't really clean up any more messes because of how much the other characters can handle themselves. And the Disney World showcased how much these three characters care about each other, but by the time they reach the final level of the game, it's too little too late, because Terra's body gets stolen and his will lives on in his Keyblade armor. Ventus is put in a comatose state, and Aqua is stuck in the realm of darkness. So yeah, the Disney World showcased the bond between each character and their personal growth, but how late they were in realizing that mattered. So with that brief explanation said, if you can even call that brief, we now move on to Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, over the years, there have been a lot of KH3 haters that have been rising to the surface lately, despite the game being only 7 years old at the moment. But they would tell you that the Disney worlds in the game don't really matter to the main plot. But they couldn't be more wrong, because they actually do matter to the main plot of the game. You got Maleficent and Pete trying to find a black box, Organization 13 showing up giving Sora cryptic warnings about, hey, if you keep fucking around in these Disney worlds, we're just gonna kidnap the new 7 Princesses of Light and forge the Keyblade. And not only that, these Disney worlds are reminiscent of previous Kingdom Hearts games and what entails for the final part of the game. Now, what I mean by every Disney world being reflective of every game in the series is that Kingdom Hearts 3 is the end of the Dark Seeker saga, so they did all the callbacks they can to previous games. Like, for example, Kingdom of Corona is a callback to Kingdom Hearts 1 and Chain of Memories, with Rapunzel wanting to escape her tower to see new worlds, just like Sora, Riku, and Kairi built a raft just to see new worlds as well. Not only that, but Rapunzel was fed lies her entire life to stay in a tower because of the power she holds, which is similar to Naminé's position in Chain of Memories, and it makes sense as to why Marluxia shows up in this world. Toybox questions how toys are able to have hearts despite not being living things, which is reflective of 358 Overdue Days and the Nobodies in Kingdom Hearts 2, and their storyline on if they can even have hearts. Not only that, but it gives the organization the idea to use replicas for their vessels. Monstropolis is reflective of Birth by Sleep because it has Vanitas be revived by negative emotions, have the Unverse reawaken, and Sora gets a glimpse of Ventus within him. Arendelle is reflective of a plotline that happens in Kingdom Hearts 2, and that plotline is Riku avoiding Sora because of the power he holds and the shame he feels towards him because of what he did back in Destiny Islands, and Elsa is doing the exact same thing Riku did. And Larxene pops up in the world to tell the players and Sora that if they keep messing around in these worlds and not getting stronger or finding the 7 Guardians of Light, they'll just kidnap the 7 Princesses of Light and do the same thing Maleficent tried to do in the first game of the series. And San Francisco is reflective of Recoded, and how it deals with data, and if data can even have a heart of its own. Not only are these Disney worlds reflective of previous Kingdom Hearts games and has important messages from the organization in these levels, but it's also hints what happens at the end of this game. game, because as we all know, during the Keyblade graveyard level, everyone ends up dying the first time, and Sora has to do a nature taboo in order to get them back, and by the end of the game, he loses his life because of it. And it was shown to us in every Disney World because everyone made a sacrifice for the things or people they love. In Kingdom of Corona and Arendelle, Eugene and Anna sacrificed their lives in order to protect the people they love most. In the Caribbean, Will sacrificed his life in order to defeat Davy Jones and protect everyone, and now he's stuck on Davy Jones' ship. In San Francisco, they sacrificed Baymax's original chip to remake him in a new way. That's 4 out of the 7 Disney Worlds that gives us subtle hints as to what's to come in the final level of the game. I mean, heck, you can even throw in Hercules talking about wanting to save Meg and sacrificing his life to do so if you want to. But all those moments led up to Sora doing a nature taboo to revive his friends again. By using the power of awakening to travel through worlds to regain hearts instead of using the hearts to travel to worlds. And because of that, he paid the ultimate price at the end of the game by losing his life in order to protect the people he cares for the most. And that's all the Disney Worlds I wanted to talk about in every Kingdom Hearts game. And the conclusion I came to with all these is that the Disney Worlds are important to the main plot of the series because they are hints and foreshadowing as to what is to come at the end of the game. Sora's heroism in KH1, Roxas and Sora's internal struggle in KH2, and Sora's sacrificing himself to save others in KH3. I believe all of them were foreshadowed and hinted all by the Disney Worlds, which is why I believe they're important. And if there are certain Disney Worlds that show up in KH4, I'm sure they're going to be vitally important and foreshadow what is going to happen at the end of the game as well. But hey, that's my opinion about the Disney Worlds. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below, and remember to like, subscribe, and follow my Instagram and TikTok so you can see artwork like this. And with that being said, I'll see you guys next time.